Let's take our Bibles and turn to Hosea chapter 10. Hosea chapter 10. I hope that as we go through this day and as we go through this week, that even by Wednesday that we'll be closer to God, we'll be more humbled, more broken. We'll be sensitive to His Spirit. That even Thursday and Friday, I know the meeting ends on Wednesday, but even Thursday and Friday that we would still be sensitive to the Lord, seeking to walk in humility before Him. In Hosea chapter 10 and verse number 12, it says, "Sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy, break up your fallow ground, for it is time to seek the Lord, till He come and rain righteousness upon you. You have plowed wickedness, you have reaped iniquity, you have eaten the fruit of lies, because thou didst trust in thy way, in the multitude of thy mighty men." He says here, sow to yourselves in righteousness. How do we sow in righteousness? Well, one, by being here. You're here in this Sunday school hour. Others could have been here, but they've chosen not to be here. They're just going to come for the Sunday morning service. But we're here in the Sunday school hour. If you come just Sunday morning at church, you'll hear 52 messages. You come to Sunday school on Sunday morning, you've got 104 at the end of the year. And then if you come Sunday school, Sunday morning, Sunday night, now you've got 3 days or 3 times a week. Now you're up to whatever it is, 156. And then if you come on Wednesday night, you come to the 4 services, now you're up to 208, I believe. How do you think your Christian life's going to be? I know not everybody can make all those services, but if we can, we ought to be there. Even in Bible college, a 4-year degree that Antonio, 4 years, he's heard over 500 chapel services. What do you think that's done to him? How that has grown him? Sow to yourselves in righteousness. How do you do that? By being here, coming to church, by spending time in God's Word every day, by spending time in prayer. We went out like yesterday, getting the gospel out. What are we doing? We're sowing to righteousness. So we're to sow these seeds, we're to scatter these seeds. Proverbs 11:18 says, "The wicked worketh a deceitful work, but to him that soweth righteousness shall be a sure reward." He says, sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy. I'm thankful that God is a God of mercy. So many times in my life, I've thought, have I exhausted it? God, is there still mercy for me? The island of Lewis, in the 50s, early 50s, there was a man that was at the altar. The revival took place for 3 years. The man at the altar just crying out, "God, is there mercy for me? Is there mercy for me?" Yes, there's mercy for you. Even though we're so wicked, our hearts are deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Where sin abounded, grace did much more abound. There's more grace in God than there is sin in us. Oh, His mercy is great. And that reaping of mercy is even greater than the righteousness which we're sowing. 2 Corinthians 9 and verse 6, "But this I say, he that soweth sparingly shall reap also sparingly, and he which soweth bountifully shall reap also bountifully." Galatians 6:7, "Be not deceived, God is not mocked, for whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap. For he that soweth to his flesh shall of his flesh reap corruption, but he that soweth to the Spirit shall of the Spirit reap life everlasting. And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." Verse 13 says, "You have plowed wickedness, you have reaped iniquity." But when we sin, we reap the consequences of those sins. And so we need to sow in righteousness. He says, sow to yourselves in righteousness, reap in mercy. And then he says, break up your fallow ground. This is the hardened ground. This is where our hearts are hard. You ever had a hard heart? Sometimes, there's times I definitely know I have a hard heart. I know that I'm just clenched up. I'm resistant to God. I'm resistant to His Word. I'm resistant to His conviction. I'm hardened against Him. And it boggles my mind why I'd ever be hard against him. Again, when nobody loves me more than he does. Nobody's more for me than he is. And yet I'm resisting him. I'm hardening my heart against him. This hardened heart. And again, sometimes we don't even realize we have a hardened heart. The heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Who can know it? I, the Lord, search the heart. I try the reins, even to give every man according to the fruit of his doings. I don't quite get that right, but he knows our hearts. He knows the hardness of it. And even as we begin in the Sunday school time, and I've come to church this year with a hardened heart. Maybe you have a hardened heart right now. You know what God's saying? Don't stay there. Break up that fallow ground. Break up that hardened ground. We need hearts of tenderness. We need hearts that are teachable. I pray in my prayer list, Lord, help me be teachable. There's a point in my life, as I grew, I'm asking preachers for advice all the time. And then, I get into evangelism. I'm asking preachers for advice. And there was a point I stopped asking. Well, it's not good. Because I started thinking, okay, I'm fine. I'm all right. I don't need to ask. And I got a hardened heart. And there's times, and then, when preachers continue to tell you that you need to work on this, you need to work on it, it's the same thing. Like, I don't want to be told that again. But I remember another time, Megan and I were in a meeting, and the meeting was fantastic. But I had messed up in one area. And I didn't want to ask the pastor. Megan's like, you can ask him for advice? I said, I don't want to. I don't want to ask him. And at the end of the meeting, I asked him. And he pointed out the exact thing that I messed up on. And I told Megan, I said, never again. Like, we're going to correct that. We're going to fix that. Why did I stop asking? Because of hardness, pride. A teachable spirit. Have you lost a teachable spirit? Have you think that you've arrived? It was, Paul Levine. John Getch told this story. He said, Paul Levine was at a meeting that he was at, or a conference, and he was teaching this session. Paul Levine's in his 90s, great preacher of yesteryear. He comes just shuffling his feet up to the front, and he says, Brother Getch, I didn't get point number 4. What was point number 4? Now, Brother Getch was thinking this. I don't think he verbalized it, but he was thinking, you don't need point number 4. You're about to die, like you're going home soon. You don't need point number 4. Forget point number 4. But what did it show of Paul Levine? He's teachable. He wants to grow. He wants to learn, even in his 90s. And I think he died a few months later after that. Have you lost that teachable spirit? Do you have that hardened heart? Now, what causes us to have our heart to be hardened? Pride. Pride. I'm going to ask Megan if she would come up here, and she has better handwriting than I do. Let's think about this matter of pride. I've got a marker right there. What can we be prideful about, or how's pride seen? Skills. We can take pride in our skills when God's the one who's given it to us. He's not impressed with your abilities. He's the one that gave it to you. Our skills, what's another one? Our age. And how about with our age?
I've been a Christian for 50 years. I know things. That's what
Yep. Another one. Knowledge. Knowledge puffeth up. Oh, I know better than you. I know more than you, so I'm better than you. Another one. Education. I have a higher education than you, so I know better than you. The upbringing. How about what's the upbringing?
Well, I was raised in a Christian home. I've been going to church all my life.
Okay. I've grown up in a Christian home. I know all of these things, so I'm better than somebody else that hasn't. I'm better than the bus kids or the other kids that didn't grow up in a Christian home. We look down on others, and you can write that down. We look down on others. I got that issue. I've told you this before, but I was God was peeling back layer after layer one time in a meeting that I had. And it was a Tuesday, and I thought I'd confessed everything. And long time in prayer. And then I'm on the road driving to the meeting, and I'm just silently praying. I said, Lord, is there anything else? And the Lord says, just quiet. He didn't speak to me audibly, just to my heart. Yeah, Tim, you think you're better than some of the people you're about to preach to. I thought of myself here and the people here. Let each esteem other better than themselves. Let every man have this mind, which is the mind of Christ. We've got to have that lowliness of mind. We've got to come into that room, whatever room we're in, and just take that lowest place, that lowest position. But yet so often that pride just swells up. And I'd love to say to you, that's the only time God's ever convicted me about it, but no. What's another one?
Thinking that we know better than God.
Yes. And that's so huge, because that's what it is. It really is a in your face to God. I have more wisdom than you. I know my situation better than you. I cannot trust you. And that pride, which is satanic.
If I were God, I would do it this way.
Yep.
In other words, questioning God, I do that.
Yeah, you question his character. It's okay to question, okay, God, why did this work out this certain way? It's okay to question the ways of God, but don't question the character of God. Don't question his wisdom, his goodness, his holiness, his justice. What else? Position. Yeah, I'm better. I've got this position. I'm superior than you. The greatest among you, let him be servant. It's that lowliness of mind. The way up is not pride, it's not position, it's down. F.B. Myers said, I thought the best gifts from God is when you climbed one ladder after another and you're able to reach the highest spot. But he says, as I've grown in my Christian life, it's not climbing the ladder up, it's getting lower, lower, and lower. That's where the best gifts are, and that humbleness of mind. Brother Roger, I'm going to ask if you'd come up here, please, and if you'd pass these out. I think I'll be done with you on that. What you're receiving is a front and back paper of pride versus brokenness. And this was done by Harold Vaughn of Christ Life Ministries. It's on a card. I just didn't have enough cards to hand it out to everybody, so we just printed it out like this. But I want to encourage you to take this and pray through it. The first one says, pride grieves God. We only spent like 4 minutes maybe or 5 minutes on that. No wonder we don't have revival. No wonder we don't see God move. Because all of this and so much more in our lives that we don't even see right now is grieving the Lord. Brokenness secures grace. Thank you. Pride sets you up for a fall. Brokenness prepares the way for God's favor. Pride keeps you from praying. Brokenness causes you to pray. Pride blinds you to your wicked ways. Brokenness opens your eyes to your wicked ways. I've been taking, there's 40 of these, and the last 4 days I've taken just 10 and just prayed through it. And God's worked in my heart. Pride is quick to detect pride in others. Brokenness is quick to identify pride in oneself. Pride makes you critical. Brokenness makes you compassionate. They're at the bottom. Pride builds a wall between us and others at the bottom of the second page. Brokenness builds bridges between us and others. And in that prayer, Lord, bend this proud and stiff-necked eye. Help me to bow the head and die, that it may no longer be I, but Christ that lives in me. Last year, we were in Spartanburg, South Carolina, Trinity Baptist Church. Pastor Reinhardt, what a great man of God, and we thoroughly enjoy being there every time we've been there. And we had a meeting, and we were trying to figure out how we're going to fit this meeting in. I didn't have certain dates open. He didn't either. But he says, Tim, I've never done this, but let's do a Wednesday through Sunday meeting. And so I've never done that either, but let's do it. And so God moved, though, in that meeting. This is at the end of August last year. And by Friday, the pastor gets up, and he says, folks, this is the best meeting our church has ever had. He says, this is the best meeting I've ever been in. God was just breaking us, peeling layer after layer. You see, it's an onion. You know, the onion has so many multiple layers. Right now, you and I, we just see, okay, I've got to get this layer done. You're like, all right, I got that layer off. And God, you stay there long enough, God says, no, there's this too, and this too, and this too. And as Pastor Taylor prayed from Oroville one day in our men's meeting, he was talking about that. God, you're just peeling layer after layer off of us, that pride. And keep peeling it off until there's nothing. Till we are nothing. And this meeting was amazing that we had in South Carolina. And Sunday morning, the best special music I ever heard all year long was by this lady, probably in her upper 70s. She sang an a cappella, Search Me, O God, and Know My Heart, the invitational song. This quiet, meek, godly lady got up with brokenness and said, God's been showing me things in my life that I haven't seen in years. God has been peeling all these layers off. I didn't realize how far away I was from Him. And my prayer of my heart is, God, search me. Keep going deeper. Show me the things that are in my life. And she sang that song with the power of God upon her, a cappella. And the pastor just cries out as she's singing, oh God, even the special music's convicting. It's getting all of us. When she got done singing, a man in the church, he has cerebral palsy, just a great man, got up. I don't remember all that he said, but just he says, Pastor, can I say a few words? And the touch of God was on that man's life, just broken, praising God for his salvation. It was an amazing moment. You know, when the pastor did that to me, I'm like, all right, come up and preach. I'm just like, I preach, but I was going to be preaching on the awe of God. God so worked in that meeting. I want to see God work here this week. You know that it's not God that's the problem. It's us. Let's take some time now